But first, let's talk about what's hot now. All right, gun violence is a widespread issue in this country, but at what age would you be comfortable with your child actually learning about guns? There's a school in Pennsylvania that says the child should learn about guns as early as the age of 6. Forest Hills Elementary School offers a program called Gun Stop that teaches kindergartners how to stay safe around firearms. Megan, would you want your daughters to take that class?
When I heard the age, it's very young. Like 5, 6, it's very young. But one thing with guns today, I think knowledge is power. And the more you know, that old slogan, the more you know. I think if you introduce them, because kids are curious, and if that was in someone's house and my kid was there and didn't know what it was or how to use it or thought it was a toy gun, you have to give them a little bit of knowledge, because kids are, you know, pretty smart.
And 80% of the households in that community have guns in them. So that was part of the reason.
Then I think in that community, for that specific crowd, that audience, I think this is a perfect thing to do for that group of people.
It's also a lot of audiences. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, and I was around guns my entire life. And I think that, you know, your environment should really dictate the education. But what I want to say is, yes, it's great to educate children about gun safety, but adults buy guns, adults use guns, so adults have to be responsible for also being educated gun owners and accept the consequences of owning guns as well.
Some people who are opposed to this think that the onus is being put on the children instead of the adults.
Well, you know, here's the thing for me. I remember when I was a kid, we had Gruff, the crime dog, whatever he was. He didn't have no pistols. He had, like, what, a rubber band, and that was it. I think it's too young for these kids to be learning about guns.
But unfortunately, these guns aren't there.
That's crazy.
I was going to say, what if your child was in a home and there's a gun? What if they had a little bit of knowledge about that gun and not to touch it? I mean, obviously the parents should have a dialogue with their kids. But in a classroom setting, they look at a police officer, they respect a police officer, they understand the consequence of action.
Let's keep in mind the class is voluntary. You do not, have to, it's not required. Parents are allowed to attend it. It's an animated version of, you know, I think it's an eagle, I think, that talks to the kids about what would you do if you found a gun in a house. And my son, he was 4 or 5. He went to a friend's house. I didn't think there were guns in my neighborhood. He came home and said, "Mommy, there was a gun in their closet." Now, thank God the boy didn't take it down or anything, but that shook me up. So. And when I first heard about this class, I thought, this is a really good thing. But then the American Academy of Pediatrics, they did a study on this, and they found that actually these kinds of programs have no impact on kids because kids are naturally curious. And in real time, when they see it, they want to play with it.
Right.
So I thought that was very interesting.
Maybe they should teach the parents how to keep the guns away from the kids. Then the kids never can find the gun.
Right. You should lock up your gun. They need to be locked up.
I know the big fight is, too, okay, if we're teaching our kids how to use a gun or how to be protected from a gun at 6 years old, it's the same thing they say about sex ed. Why are we teaching our kids, sex education? It's going to lead them to sex. I don't believe that. I think this is protecting the children, and you need to be frightened of a gun at that age. You need to know how dangerous a gun is, and it's not just a toy.
Right.
Very important.
Okay. Well, let's move on then. When we want to prepare our children for the worst, obviously, but how do you prepare them for Doomsday? There's a German company that's now offering America's super rich a chance to have access to their luxury bunker in Indiana. We have pictures of their biggest bunker in Germany. Okay, this is one in Germany.
Wow,
this thing comes with everything. It's got a spa. It's got like a little dental office. It's got everything.
That looks like a high-end hotel in
Vegas. It's like survival of the fittest here. Like only the rich can stay in there.
Well, it's $35,000 to get a spot if you're an adult. $25,000 if you're a kid.
Well, that's
a kid.
Build your own bunker.
It's like a timeshare. It sounds like a Ponzi scam.
No, but the way that thing looks, it's like is that Doomsday? Because I remember Doomsday used to be like gray everywhere. That looks like a heaven to me. I would want to die and go to that. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think I'm obsessed with the show called Doomsday Preppers. It's on Nat Geo, and I used to think that these people were totally paranoid. And my husband made me watch it, and I have to say, they're not just conspiracy theories. There are real things happening out there that we should be prepared. I know, Lance, you were saying you have a bug-out bag. My husband put together like a bug-out bag, and I thought he was crazy, but now it makes me feel a little bit safer.
What's a bug-out bag?
Well, like in ours, we have like iodine pills, or we have batteries, we have walkie-talkies, an inflatable raft, like things like
iodine pills.
Any of that. I barely have a sewing kit for when I have a hole in my clothes, so I'm lost.
I would never put it together.
What is it yours?
Clothing, water, you know, protection, you know, a knife, a gun. I mean, it's...
You might have a gun? A bunker.
No, so, you know, some playing cards.
I think when you're from California, which you are, a lot of people have those because of earthquakes. Yeah, exactly.
And all my friends know that my house is the safety house. If anything goes down, go to my house because I'm up in the hills. It's very protected, and I have tons of food and water ready. So everyone come to my house. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
I'm a huge fan of Ted Koppel's, and I don't like to buy into doomsday situations, but I think Ted Koppel's a brilliant journalist. He has a new book out on the potential for a cyber attack to cripple our country. And he says that experts have told him it's not a question of if, it's a question of when this happens. And you think what happened with Hurricane Sandy, just the people who lost electricity and heat. Now, imagine that on a massive scale, and people will not have food to eat, and there are going to be riots. And this is a guy that's really smart. He said he's changed his whole way of living.
Well, here's the reality. I mean, some of us, I live in a small 900 square foot apartment. I can't fit anything in my apartment. My husband and I, the only option we have a place to meet if there's a catastrophe. I'm like, we are going to be hunkering down, drinking lake water. I'll be coming for your iodine pills.
But he's saying the government should start taking it seriously. He spoke to someone in Homeland Security, and they said, oh, just get a battery-powered radio.
That's it?
Yeah, so they're not really...
What's the harm in preparing, right? If it doesn't happen, great. But if it does, at least you're prepared and your family is prepared.
But what are we supposed to do with that kind of an attack? I mean, it's going to cripple everyone. I mean, will water save you in that kind of a situation?
We'll all go in the basement and watch reruns of the Meredith Vieira show.
And if that doesn't kill you, nothing will.
All right, moving on. Starring in 4 Hunger Games movies, actor Josh Hutcherson is probably prepared for the end of the world. This poor guy, he's a handsome guy. Hopefully he'll be able to spend it with his girlfriend, Spanish actress Claudia Trizac. He recently opened up, the cute couple, about the frustrations of their long-distance relationship, but he says somehow they make it work. Have you guys ever had a long-distance relationship?
Yeah, I met my husband, and I was long-distance. I moved to New York a week after we met, and I loved it. I thought it was great. For a year, we would only see each other every 2-3 weeks, and you really got to know each other, very well during that amount of time. But long-distance past a year and a half, 2 years, I don't think it can really survive.
But it's like you're living in a fantasy a little bit. When I did long distance too, but like with you and Michael, I'm like, you live in a fantasy. It's a vacation every single time.
I think it's fun. But
my relationship, like the minute he moved to New York, it was a tough year, man, because we had a great romantic, living. Ooh, I'm coming to see. It was like a party a little bit.
If I'm being totally honest, my husband and I dated 9 months. We were both in different cities, and he proposed. So when we got engaged, we had never even lived in the same city.
Were you in?
He was living in Philadelphia. I got some Philly peeps in this. He was living in Philadelphia, in Old City, and I was living here in New York. And when we got engaged, I remember thinking, but we've never even lived in the same city together. So I felt like our relationship didn't even start until I moved to Philly to be with him. And I have to say, it was an adjustment. It was not reality,
Early in my relationship with Richard, I just wanted to be together. Now that we've had 30 years, I would love long distance. I think it would be, I don't mean like all the time, but if we had like 3 days, right? Like a few days off. I love that. All right. Have you ever wished there was a way to predict if your partner is going to cheat on you? Interesting segue there. A new Texas Tech University study found that if someone has a history of cheating in their family, they are twice as likely to cheat. And I know, Liliana, when you read that, you said no, quite the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, my parents went through a really, really painful divorce, and my dad cheated on my mom, and I wasn't young. I was 15 years old. And for me, I saw the hurt and devastation to my family, and not just me and my brother, but my entire extended family. So the idea of doing that to somebody else, I could never do it. But it's amazing that people say that actually makes you more disposed to do that.
Well, I think to some degree they say it's also genetic. There's a genetic component involved. So.
They do. They say, genetics makes you cheat.
No, come on. I'm just telling you.
It says it releases like it's like a drug.
It's that adrenaline. That adrenaline rush you want.
And I keep picking the person with the cheat gene.
Well,
because I've been cheat, chat, chit-chat, choo-choo-choo.
They want that adrenaline rush. Yeah, they want that adrenaline rush. And also, I think you're a product of your environment. So if that's what you're seeing in your life, you might.
But people might take responsibility for what they do also, because you know what? I did have a guy say to me, "Oh, my father was a cheat, and we cheat." I said, "Well, you could change that.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to keep doing that path.
That's
just
an
change
excuse
it.
sometimes. Yeah.
You break the pattern. It's like abuse. You break the pattern.
Exactly. All right, get ready, everybody. People Magazine's 30th Sexiest Man Alive issue will be coming out later this month, but they're currently asking you guys actually to vote for their all-time favorite sexiest man that's been on the cover already. Mine is the obvious Clooney, George Clooney. There's nothing better. I mean, it's been on the cover. All right, everybody go down the line.
Mine's a little old school. I say JFK Jr. To me,
he was a cover? Yeah.
I mean, he's just classic, gorgeous, like such charisma. I love him.
Of all time, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Brad Pitt on this one. I mean, he's so like a good-looking man.
I feel like you know I love me. So, I know I can't take him. Stop taking him every single time. George Clooney. I would say Lance Bass. Yeah, you can put it on there. Ryan Gosling.
Oh,
I'm like, that's
Has he been on the cover?
He's never been on the cover.
He hasn't?
No, but that's a great suggestion.
He had those abs in that scene and that lift and the what and the hot.
And we know that this person hasn't been on the cover, but he's been on the cover of my heart since I was a kid. Danny DeVito. I gotta go. I love him. He's hot.
Danny DeVito is not going to be the cover.
He might surprise you.
He might. He's adorable.
There might be miracles, Meredith.
There might be miracles. You were just involved in the TV special, right? For this.
Yeah, it's the 30th anniversary of People's Sexiest Man. And Lifetime is doing a special. I think it's November 17th or 18th, and I'm going to be one of the hosts of that.
So do you know who this?
No, they.
What do you think?
They will not trust me. I tried getting it out of them. They will not tell me. Who do I think it is? I think it's going to be Chris Pratt this year.
Really?
I do.
I like that
Chris
one.
Pratt.
I support that.
There's a honey. He's cute.
You know what? I'm sticking with our homeboy, Lance Bass, baby, all the way.